For more than a century, the VFW has placed great emphasis on education and educating our nation's youth on Americanism, civic responsibility, and patriotism. Enacted in 1999, the Smart Maher VFW National Citizen Education Teacher Award offers us a way to recognize teachers who strive each and every day to implement these core values in their classroom's daily curriculum. From the hundreds of nominations that we receive nationwide and across in Europe and the Pacific area, this year's 3 award recipients stand out as extraordinary, dedicated Americans who have undeniably exceeded their responsibilities as citizens of the United States through the art of teaching. These teachers exemplify patriotism and were selected for their inventive teaching methods, creative class projects, and indeed eye-opening trips used to bring history alive and encourage their students to become better citizens. Each of these recipients will receive a $1,000 Smart Maher VFW National Citizenship Education Teacher Award for personal development, and their schools likewise will receive a $1,000 award. I would like to take this moment to personally thank these 3 teachers and all teachers of America, including my daughter. Next to parents, teachers are the best influencers to students in becoming young, civic-minded patriots who perpetuate the values that make this nation great. Thank you, teachers, and congratulations on a job well done. First, yes. First up, I'm pleased to introduce to you the National Citizenship Education Teacher of the Year, representing grades K through 5, Theresa Early of Fairfax, Virginia. Good to see Virginia's here. Theresa has dedicated her 28 years teaching career to working with special needs students, and throughout her career she has taken her love and devotion for our country and merged that with her dedication to her students. Theresa has not only taught her students proper flag etiquette, but instilled in them a respect for the Pledge of Allegiance and the Star-Spangled Banner. In her classroom every morning, her student form color guard proudly presents the flag and recites the Pledge of Allegiance. She continually strives to bring history and patriotism alive for her students through special field trips and unique classroom activities that focus on democratic values, patriotic themes, and those beliefs that we all share and cherish. 2 years ago, she established a stamp club and has been able to teach history through the lens of stamp collecting, bringing the correlation of patriotism and historical figures into her curriculum. Please join me in welcoming Theresa Early, sponsored by VFW Post 8469 and its auxiliary from Fairfax Station, Virginia. Theresa.
Thank you. This is such an honor for me. I appreciate it so very much. I want to give an especial thanks to my assistant principal, Kim Pryor, for nominating me, and to the Fairfax, Virginia VFW Post 8469 for sending my application onward. Of course, my family, who devotes a great deal of time to helping out with my class, deserves my thanks as well. I come from a VFW family. My grandfather, John McMiniman, was a 55-year member of the Boise, Idaho Post 63 and was also an Idaho State Commander. He had served in France in World War I. My grandmother, Mary McMiniman, was a leader in the VFW Auxiliary for those many years alongside him. My mother tells me that her main aim when it was time to sell poppies was to sell more than the American Legion kids did. My father, Gerald Early, is a proud life member of Easton, Maryland's Post 5118. He served with the 173rd Airborne Brigade in Vietnam, and I clearly remember his absence from our family when I was in the 2nd grade. I know that all of you support our military families while parents are serving overseas, and I am happy to report to you that the public schools are beginning to give the children of service members the support and recognition they deserve while at school. I clearly remember a teacher who helped me count down the days while my father was in Vietnam, and I remember going to the airport to bring him home. I also remember talking to him on reel-to-reel tapes that were then mailed back and forth, but that technology is so out of date that my students wouldn't believe it. My cousin, Karen Jensen, was an Army nurse in Vietnam, and I have other cousins with military backgrounds as well. My first school experience began in kindergarten at Carlisle Barracks in Pennsylvania. I realized after a few weeks that some children had fathers who were not in the military. This took me by surprise, but then I figured out that someone had to do the other jobs in the world, like dentistry and carpentry. I remember explaining this to my dad, and I told him that probably the other fathers weren't good enough to be in the military, and he agreed that I was exactly right. While being a teacher is not the same as serving in the military, it is a profession that is service-oriented. It is a profession where you must display leadership skills, be an effective team member, and think quickly on your feet. I am proud to have been a teacher for over 30 years. During this time, I have worked solely with students who have emotional and/or behavioral struggles. What I have learned from them is that all children want to belong, they will follow positive role models, and they like to hear stories. I have been a storyteller about American heroes who did the right thing even when nobody was looking, and about American heroes who stood up for what they knew was right, even in the face of opposition. I have taught my students that they should have each other's six, and that American leaders should do the same, here in the United States and globally. We must stand up for what we know is right. I love teaching American history, and I love telling the students the stories of how Americans have found their way forward, correcting past mistakes, and holding each other accountable for the future. Because I work with younger children, some of these stories have been hard to tell. Some things have been very hard to explain. On 9/11, I had to keep my composure all day after the occupational therapist entered my classroom for a lesson and whispered to me that a plane had crashed in New York. Not 30 minutes from our school, the Pentagon was hit. I had visited my dad's office at the Pentagon many times as a child. When school resumed that Thursday, I had to explain to my third graders why school had been canceled for Wednesday and what the people on TV were talking about. They looked to me to tell them why. It has been increasingly difficult to explain national and world events to kids that come to me, trusting that I am going to make sense of it all for them. Even the youngest students are exposed to so much information in so many ways now. My message to them continues to be that we have leaders who will find their way forward, and that we have men and women ready to do the right thing on our behalf. My expectation for my students is that they will learn from the past so as not to repeat mistakes when they become full-fledged citizens, and that they have pride in America as a country that has always, in my mind, been one of excellence, and one that is welcoming to all as we provide for and protect our citizens. Because I have this unique opportunity to speak to you, I want to describe a program to which I contributed this past school year. I described it to my students as well as an example of the U.S. making good on its promises. We don't leave people behind. I donated household goods and furniture to a group called No One Left Behind, which helps settle Afghani and other translators in the U.S. with special visas. These translators risk their lives and those of their families to help our troops overseas. We must allow them and their families the chance to be safe from reprisal for their assistance. This is our chance to do the right thing. Along with thanking all of you for this award again, I must also thank the many instructional assistants with whom I have been teamed over the years. I could not have done my job so effectively without them. Thank you again.
Next, I'm very pleased to introduce VFW Life Member and National Citizenship Education Teacher of the Year, representing grades 6 through 8, Jeffrey Bennish of Westwood, Kansas. As a veteran, Jeff has the unique ability to combine real-world experiences and advanced education with an energy and enthusiasm that helps bring social studies alive. As the recently appointed coordinator for his school's Veterans Day activities, he has seen the program flourish to include local veterans talking to students in classrooms prior to a school-wide assembly representing all attending veterans. But Jeff doesn't provide an education on the spark of interest and patriotism for his students. For more than 15 years, he has been part of the teachers' cadre for Holocaust education, has traveled nationally and internationally, sharing his interactions and painting a picture of humanity for his classroom. Jeff is also involved in teaching flag etiquette, services to others, and citizenship to both the Boy Scouts of America and Girl Scouts. Please join me in welcoming Jeff Bennish, sponsored by VFW Post 10906 and its auxiliary in Kansas City, Missouri.
Jeffrey Bennish, Antioch Middle School Teacher of the Year, grade level 6 through 8, 2016-2017.
Good morning, everybody. This is really way too much for me. I'm not used to this. Believe it or not, I actually don't like talking in front of crowds. I know it seems weird as a teacher. I don't want to take too much of your time, but I want to thank a couple different people. First off, I want to thank my wife. I went overseas in '05, and she took care of the kids. So veterans are critical. Our families are also critical. So we got to remember that as we go through this. Auxiliary, incredible. Thank you so much for what the auxiliary does. Thank you so much for what all of you have done, comrades. You guys impress the hell out of me. I will not leave the stage without saying thank you to 10906 for the nomination, to Department 3 of Missouri, District 3 of Missouri, Department of Missouri, to Troy, thank you so much for supporting me through this. I cannot believe I'm at this point. It's befuddling. I was enlisted, so standing in front of a crowd and trying to give orders is not my style. You know, I'd rather be on the ground doing it rather than standing in front of you guys right now. So I would be remiss if I did not thank the Department of Kansas and everyone who supported me in the Department of Kansas, my home post of 7397 in Lenexa. All the way up, thank you, Lynn, for being here to support me. Thank you all. I've got such a great support network out here. I also want to thank my principal, Dr. Schneblin, for allowing me to spread my wings. This is just incredible. I appreciate all that you guys have done. The community Gladstone, it's all around. This is quite an honor. It's really starting to hit home. It's overwhelming. Sorry. Don't usually cry except when I go to war and war-related stuff, so, you know. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate all that you guys have done. I cannot even begin to tell your stories. I appreciate all that you guys who share your stories with us. I appreciate everything about this organization, so I thank you. on behalf of my students, on behalf of my community. So thank you.
And last but certainly not least, it's a great pleasure that I introduce the National Citizenship Education Teacher of the Year, representing grades 9 through 12, Steve Johnson from Fallon, Nevada. Steve is not just any high school science teacher. He is a teacher that has earned the respect of his peers, students, and community. He has been recognized by the Nevada Teachers of the Year not only once but twice, and he has encouraged his students, watching them become successful scientists, engineers, doctors, lawyers, and accountants. For Steve, teaching is not limited to the classroom. Over the years, he has taken students to tour Yucca Mountains Nevada Test Site, nuclear power plants, and the Idaho National Lab to learn about nuclear energy and weapons development. After the events of September 11th, he developed a community presentation to highlight those who served and the impact their military service has had. Through recognition, both their sacrifices and accomplishments, Steve has inspired many students to serve in the military and graduate from military academies. Please help me in welcoming Steve Johnson, sponsored by VFW Post 1002 and its auxiliary in Fallon, Nevada.
Steve D. Johnson, Churchill County High School Teacher of the Year, grade level 9 through 12, 2016-2017.
It is indeed a great honor to be here and to receive this award from the men and women who really have been my heroes my entire life. I have always had such admiration and respect for the men and women who have chosen to stand up for our freedoms, for our country, and to pay for that, some of them, with their very lives. I would like to thank my wife, Pamela. I would like to thank Army veteran Kieran Kalt for nominating me for this award and for the help and support that I have had from Master Chief Michael Terry. And I would also like to just say a word about my personal hero, who is my son, Nicholas Johnson, who in 2003 called me and told me, "Dad, I'm going to interrupt my college education to serve my country." At that time, Nick was a member of the National Guard, and he told me that his intention was to volunteer to go to Iraq to serve in Operation Iraqi Freedom, and that it was his intent to request a combat assignment. So Nick served with the 1st Infantry Division in Bakuba and in Kirkuk. Nick was involved in action that nearly took his life, and I am so proud to be his father and that he is my son. I am very proud to be a citizen of this very, very great, special country, which is unique in the history of the world. And I just would like to thank all of you, because without you, without your service, we would not have this country. And America really is a shining beacon to the world of freedom and human rights. So I thank all of you sincerely for your dedicated service to our country, and God bless all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.